I will start by briefly reviewing the evaluation process for Mr. Buruiană. The Commission initiated its evaluation on the 24th of August 2023 by notifying Mr. Buruiană via email and asking him to complete and return an ethics questionnaire and the financial declarations required by Law Number 65. He provided this information on the 1st of September 2023. As part of evaluating a subject's ethical and financial integrity, the Commission also obtains information from many other sources, such as the National Integrity Authority, the State Fiscal Service, the General Inspectorate of the Border Police, other public institutions, financial institutions, and open sources. The Commission assesses information it obtains for relevance and reliability. On the 2nd of October 2023, the Commission sent a first round of questions to Mr. Buruiană and requested answers by the 9th of October 2023. On the deadline, Mr. Buruiană provided some answers to the questions posed and submitted some of the requested documents. On the 13th of October, the Commission sent a second round of questions and requested answers by the 17th of October. On that day, he provided some answers to the questions and submitted some of the requested documents. On the 25th of October 2023, the Commission addressed to Mr. Buruiană a third set of questions. The Commission also sent a fourth round of questions and asked Mr. Buruiană to respond by the 12th of November 2023. He provided a response by that deadline. On the 5th of January 2024, we notified Mr. Buruiană that the Commission in its investigation had identified some areas of doubts about his compliance with the ethical and financial criteria. We also invited him to attend today's hearing. Mr. Buruiană, do you wish to make any corrections or additions to the answers you've provided to the Commission's request for information?
Honored Commission, I presented the excerpts from the bank account with delay, the ones that were for my daughter and were requested in the fourth round, and if necessary, I can explain this delay.
I think we will come to that in the questions. What I'm really asking is in the answers that you've submitted up to this point, is there anything that you feel like needs correction because it's inaccurate?
Honored Commission, there are no inconsistencies. There's nothing that is not in accordance with the truth. So, in the answers that I have presented in the fourth rounds of questions and answers.
Okay. Are the answers that you provided to the ethics questionnaire that you returned on the 1st of September 2023 still accurate as of today?
Yes, they are still valid. All information from the ethics questionnaire are still valid today.
Thank you. Members of the Commission will now ask you some additional questions. We'll try to keep our questions short and to the point. We ask that your answers be short and to the point as well. Commission Member Andrei Beevil will begin with the questions.
Hello, Mr. Buruiană. I will start with something that is an issue that is recurrent and where you gave some arguments in the rounds of questions. This is related to the unexplainable wealth for 2018-2021.
Mai exact, în perioada anilor 2011-2021.
So in this period 2011-2021, with the exception of 2016, the Commission identified that there's a difference between the incomes and the expenses of your household. Usually the expenses are higher than the official incomes. This varies for each year from 19,374
35 de lei în
to
2021.
1,600.
Și asta este vorba de un deficit,
Oh,
adică de o sumă,
167,000.
o valoare negativă.
So this is
O
a
bună parte din
negative
cheltuielile anuale
value.
le
A
constituie
part of the
cheltuielile de
annual
consum
expenses
ale
are the
populației,
living expenses of
calculate
the
conform
population that are
metodologiei
calculated
Bureaului Național de
according to
Statistică.
the methodology of the National Bureau
Din
of
răspunsurile
Statistics.
dumneavoastră care le-ați
In
formulat
the answers that you have given
runduri de
us
întrebări,
in the rounds
ați
of
prezentat un
questions, you
dezacord
have
cu aceste calcule,
you mentioned that you do
afirmând
not agree
că,
with these
de fapt,
calculations, and you
gospodăria
stated
dumneavoastră
that
a
in your
dus sau a avut
household,
cheltuieli mult mai modeste.
so your household
și
had
că,
less expenses, more modest expenses.
o parte din cheltuieli erau
And
asigurate
that part of the
de
expenses
produsele agricole
were
sau, ca să citez,
based on
păsări,
agricultural
pește,
products, poultry, fish, fruit and vegetable that is grown in the household that you have in Ciuciuleni, Hâncești
ați
district.
afirmat că
You
produceți și
mentioned
stocați
that you
conserve și că
produce and
chiar
you
în
stock
anumite
cans
perioade
of food,
din
and
perioada de
in
referință,
some periods
dumneavoastră chiar ați cumpărat
within
haine la
this
second hand pentru că nu vă
period
permiteați
you bought
cheltuieli
second-hand clothes because
suplimentare
you
pentru,
could not afford
pentru,
additional
vestimentație.
expenses for clothing.
Și întrebarea mea este,
My question would
prima întrebare
be,
este
so the first question is
și acest dezacord, pe lângă argumentul
the fact that you do not agree with these expense calculations besides the expenses that you said were from the household. Do you have some calculations? So if these calculations do not correspond to the reality, what were the current expenses of your household in that period? Honored Commission, besides the incomes that I obtained in the reference period, I invoked the fact that I had incomes from the Chamber of Industry and Commerce of the Republic of Moldova as fees for arbiters. At the end of 2010, I had savings of approximately 70,000 lei. Besides this, I declared other savings that were present at the end of 2010, 14,000 euros, which were coming from my teaching activities in the law faculty in an university in France. Moreover, I mentioned that my cousin, Corlat Maria, so the cousin of my wife, she paid us back a debt amounting to 1,250 euros in 2011-2012. Besides this, I also presented arguments regarding the sale of a collection of books amounting to 1,700 euros. Therefore, all these savings were used for the expenses that my family incurred. This would be my answer. Okay, thank you. Let's go back to the household in Ciuciuleni. I was raised in the countryside, and I know that in such a household where you have poultry, you have a garden, this involves daily work. Who is taking care of this household? Who is working there? Your Honor Commission, my neighbor feeds the poultry. The fish does not need feeding, so you can add some food once every 1 or 2 weeks. So there's not so much work for raising some dozens of chickens there. And my neighbor is taking care of them. How are you paying your neighbor for this? So I give him fish, so a part of the production, yes.
Ați menționat, dacă suntem tot acolo,
Since we are on this topic,
construcția.
let's
Pe
discuss
acest
about
teren aveți o casă,
the real estate property. You have there a
aparent cu
house,
2 etaje.
a two-story house,
Și o să rog
apparently,
colegii să prezinte
and I will ask my
imaginea.
colleagues to present the
Conform actelor
images.
cadastrale,
According to the
casa
cadastral
respectivă are suprafață
documents,
totală de 102
the surface
metri.
is
Aș vrea să
102
precizați, 102
meters.
metri este suprafața utilă?
Is
sau
this
este
the
amprenta la sol,
used
mai mult?
surface, or is the soil, the ground surface? So this is the usable surface. During the rounds of questions, you declared that for building this house, you used 62,000 lei. This is in 2011-2022.
Care este, cum explicați
How
valoarea
do you
relativ
explain
redusă a
the
costurilor
relatively
construcției
low
pentru aceste
building cost for this property?
Onorat comisie,
Honor Commission,
cheltuielile referitoare la construcție
the expenses for building the house on Ionașcu 4 Street in Ciuciuleni,
există vreo problemă?
Nu.
is there any issue? No?
Aveți imaginile în fața dumneavoastră pe laptop?
Do you see the images on the laptop? Yes, this is what we wanted to check. You can carry on. Maybe could speak closer to the microphone.
Cheltuielile legate de construcție
The expenses for building the house on Street Romașcu, number 4 in Ciuciuleni Village
nu sunt subestimate.
are not undervalued
Suma
because the amount of 62,000 lei
nu reprezintă cheltuielile totale.
does not represent the full expenses.
De întrebări
In the rounds of questions and
mi
answers,
s-a solicitat să
I was
prezint
asked
informația
to offer the
referitoare doar la
information
perioada de evaluare, adică la
only for
perioada
the assessment period.
anilor 2011-2022.
This is 2011-2022.
Onorați comisie, eu am început
Your
să
Honor,
construiesc
Commission,
acest
I started
imobil
building
încă
this
în anul
house
2007.
in
Din anul
2007.
2007 până în anul 2011,
Since 2007 until 2011, I had spent approximately
308.000 de lei.
308,000 lei.
Vreau să menționez că doar
I would
în
like to mention
2007
that
am
only in
cheltuit
2007
aproximativ
I spent approximately 250,000 lei because
lucrările de construcție de bază.
the main construction works were done. So the house was built and the roof was also built.
Evidențiez faptul
Also, I would like to highlight the fact that
care a fost primit,
in the
a
file
fost prezentat,
that was
dosarul al meu de concurs care a fost prezentat,
sent, so my documents, my file,
declarația
I annexed
îndeplinită
the declaration that I filled in according to Annex 1 of
33
Law number 133 of 17th of June 2017 on declaring the assets and personal interest, and there I stated
am cheltuit
that
pentru
I
imobilul în
spent
cauză
for this property
aproximativ 370.000.
approximately 370,000 lei.
Cheltuieli sunt totale.
So this is the total amount of the expenses.
Să înțelegem că, ca să
So,
facem o concluzie la această subiect,
If we were to have a conclusion on this topic, we should understand that out of the declared expenses, the biggest share was spent in the period 2007-2010, before the reference period. Yes.
Ați menționat
Understood.
începutul acestei
You mentioned at the
audieri
beginning of
anumite
this
venituri care le-ați
hearing
încasat și,
the incomes
am
that
vrut să
you
discutăm despre
have
ele
had,
mai în
and
detaliu.
we'd like to
Deci,
discuss them in more
În
detail.
primul rând, despre economia de 14.000
First of
de
all,
euro pe care o
the
dețineați la
savings of
începutul anului
14,000 euros
2011.
that you had at the beginning of
În cadrul evaluării ați
2011.
declarat că
During the
în perioada
assessment, you
2001
mentioned
la
that
2003
in
ați fost angajat la
2001-2003,
Universitatea Montesquieu,
you
Bordeaux din Franța.
worked for the
Iar pentru
Montesquieu
munca,
Bordeaux University in
în
France,
cadrul acestei
and for
instituții
the
ați fi
work
primit un venit
in this
net
institution,
de
you
17.200
received
de
the
euro.
net
Ați mai afirmat că
income
la
of
sfârșitul anului
70,200
2010, adică peste
euros.
7 ani de la încetarea
So,
relațiilor
7
cu
years
instituția
after
respectivă,
the
mai
relationship
dețineați 14.000
with
de
this
euro din
institution
suma primită.
was ended,
Cu
you
toate acestea,
still had
nu ați
14,000.
prezentat comisiei niciun fel de,
However, you did not
acte bancare
present to
sau,
the Commission
alte
any
acte
banking
justificative care ar
documents
confirma
or justifying
existența
documents
acestor
confirming the
economii la
existence
începutul
of
anului
such
2011.
savings at the beginning of 2011.
Cum le explicați lipsa
How
oricăror
can you
date
explain
bancare despre
the
această economie
lack of
sau
any
date fiscale,
banking
dacă vreți?
documents, fiscal documents?
Onorată Comisie,
Honored Commission,
la finalul activității
at the
didactice
end of my teaching activity within the law faculty of the Montesquieu University, I would withdraw each year the money.
trăgeam banii de pe contul bancar.
So I took the money from the banking account in France and I put it in Moldova. I didn't present any justifying document because I did not deposit this money to any of the banks in the Republic of Moldova. At that period, in the Republic of Moldova, so better said, in the banking system within the Republic of Moldova, there was full chaos. Many banks were becoming bankrupt, and this is why I did not trust them. As a comparison, I can mention the fact that in that period, in the Republic of Moldova, more than 20 commercial banks were functioning, and now we have a much less number. This is why I did not present the documents. I had the money within my family. So you withdraw that sums in cash and you have had them in cash. Yes, I took them to the Republic of Moldova, but I did not deposit them in a bank. Another source of income that you mentioned in the third round of questions was a payment that you received amounting to 73,750 lei for arbitrage in dispute within the Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And the first question would be, how do you explain the fact that you mentioned this source of income? This is not a neglectable amount, or only in the third round of questions. I have explained in the third round that I overlooked this because this income was obtained outside the assessment period, so outside this period 2011-2022. So I overlooked it. I didn't have a lot of time, and I was focused on the documents for this period. So this was a stressful situation, so to say.
Okay.
Understood? Then another amount, another source of income, maybe we need to discuss if it's a source of income generally.
Recent, Comisia a primit de la
Recently,
Serviciul
Commission has
Fiscal de
received from
Stat,
the State Tax
o copie
Service
certificată a unei
a
declarații
certified
depuse
copy of a
de
declaration
dumneavoastră la
submitted by
28
you on the 28th of
2012.
December 2012.
În această
In that
declarație,
declaration,
sau în acest document
or in this
declarați că
document, you are stating
dumneavoastră,
that
la
you,
data de 28
or
decembrie
as of 28th of
2012,
December
dețineați
2012,
mijloace
you
bănești în
had
numerar
financial
în sumă
means
de
in cash
970.000 de lei.
amounting
Acest
970,000
document a fost
lei.
primit
This
recent
document
și v-a
was
fost
received
expediat în mod
recently and
separat
was sent to
prin
you
e-mail,
separately by email
ca să puteți să-l
in order
analizați
for
și
you
să putem
to
discuta
be able
despre
to
acest
analyze it
raport.
and to discuss on this
Aș vrea să
document.
explicați în primul rând
I would like you to explain, first of all, why this amount of 970,000 lei in cash was not indicated in your answers to the Commission relating to the cash means that are available and incomes from 2012.
Onorați Comisie, eu nu cunosc.
Honorable Commission, I don't know about this document. I did not receive it.
Mi-ați expediat când?
When did you send it to me?
Documentul a fost
So
expediat
the
în
document was
11
sent to you on the 11th of
2024.
January 2024.
În principiu este vorba despre pagină.
Basically, it's
Îmi
one
rog
page
secretariatul să
document. I
tipărească
kindly
documentul,
ask the
efectiv.
secretariat to print the
Ca să
document.
prezentați, este
present
vorba
it to
de
you.
o pagină. De fapt,
It's
două pagini, pentru că a doua
actually
pagină
2
este
pages because on
goală.
the second
Nu există
page
niciun fel de
it's
indicator
blank.
sau
There
mențiune.
are no indicators or mentions.
Având în vedere că a fost expediat
But taking into account that it was sent to you before the session, we propose to you to analyze it on the spot and to discuss in this regard,
Volumul acesta nu
because
este
the volume
așa,
is not
informator
big
și eventual poate-
and you could consult it.
Ceva nu merge.
Colegii o să prezinte documentul.
Okay, the colleagues will present you the document.
Da. Domnul Buruiană, documentul tipărit.
Okay, Mr. Buruiană, you have the printed document now.
Onorați comisie, nu mi-aduc aminte.
Okay, honored commission, I do not recall this document to have presented something like that.
Dar
Da.
confirmați că datele de pe
But
acest
you
document,
confirm that data
adresa,
on
semnătura
this
vă
document,
aparțin.
address and signature are yours.
Confirm.
Yes, I confirm.
Ok. Care ar putea să fie cauza că
Okay, what
ați uitat
could
de
be
acest
the
document,
reason
de
for you
această
to
sumă
forget
de bani
about this
declarată la
document,
fisc?
about this amount of money
În
that was declared to
2012,
the
în timp
SCS
ce v-ați
tax
adus
service
aminte de
in
venituri din
2012,
2001,
while
2003,
you remembered
de
the
venituri din
income from
2010.
2003 or 2010.
Onorat comisie, nu mi-aduc aminte.
Okay, honored commission, I do not recall if I submitted this document and in relation to what I submitted this declaration. What was the reason? Honestly, I do not remember.
Textul acestei declarații spune
But
că
the text of this
dețineați
declaration
la
says
acel
that
moment
you own
970.000
at that moment
de lei în numerar,
970,000
ceea ce,
lei in cash,
conform cursului
which,
Băncii
according to
Naționale,
the
constituiau cam
exchange rate
60.000
of
de
the
euro la
National
acel moment.
Bank, was about 70,000 euro at that moment.
Și neclaritatea
And
noastră ar fi
our
um,
misunderstanding
cum-
or
cum ar
uncertainty,
putea să explicați, pe de o parte,
missing of clarity is how
declarați
could
că
you
nu sunteți de
explain that on
acord
the
cu
one side
cheltuielile
you
stabilite de
say that you
bine
do not agree with
calculate
the
conform indicatorilor
calculations
Biroului
according
Național
to
de
the indicators
Statistică,
of the National Bureau of
că nu v-ați
Statistics,
permis astfel de
that you could
cheltuieli,
not afford such
Iar în aceeași
expenses,
perioadă,
and in the same
conform
period,
declarației pe care
according to
prezentați
the
la fisc,
declaration you submitted to
dețineați aproape
SCS,
1 milion de lei în
you had
numerar.
almost 1 million lei in cash.
Onorat comisie, v-am zis că nu-
Okay,
nu
honored commission, I do not recall in what context I submitted this declaration.
O altă sursă de venit
Okay,
erau
another source of income
împrumuturi primite de
represented
la,
the loans
primite, restituite
received
către
or
familia
reimbursed
Curlat,
to the Curlat
în sumă
family
de 200 de euro și respectiv
from the Curlat
1050 de euro,
family in
transferate în anii 2011-2012.
270 euros reimbursed in
Puteți să ne oferiți mai multe informații despre aceste
2011-2012.
împrumuturi?
Could you give
Dacă
us
au fost
more information
formalizate
about
cumva
these
prin
loans,
scris,
if
dacă
they
există
were
un contract de împrumut?
documented in written or there is a loan contract?
Onorat comisie,
201,050 euros, yes.
Ok, scuzați, vă rog, să facem
Sorry,
o
some
pauză.
technical issues. We might take a short break.
Este una de la ședință lipsesc președintele care lipsesc
Scuzați, domnul Buruiană.
We are sorry, Mr. Buruiană, for that.
Continuați. Dacă trebuie,
Please
ne repetăm
continue.
întrebarea.
If we say that, we can repeat the question. No, it's not needed.
onorat comisie,
Honored Commission,
am
I,
răspunsurile.
in my answers, I have indicated that
Onorat Maria este
Corlat Maria is the cousin of my wife,
drept urmare
and therefore
perfectat
we did not have any loan document compiled.
suma
The
respectivă a fost
loans or that respective amount was borrowed to Corlat Maria in January 2010
și a fost
and was reimbursed. The loan was reimbursed to us during 2011-2012.
onorat comisie.
Under
Chiar
commission,
Era un
even
încheiat un
though
contract de
there
împrumut,
was a loan contract,
la momentul actual nu puteam
at
să-l
that moment
prezint,
I could not be able to present it because all the prescription terms have expired
în momentul
or the time frames have expired, and current
util.
till this day it was not necessary to have it. This is all.
O altă categorie de
Okay, understood.
venituri
Another category
care
of
dumneavoastră le-ați,
incomes that you
comunicat
have
comisiei
communicated
sunt
to the
venituri care
Commission
rezultă
are
din
incomes
activitatea
deriving
pe bază de
from
patente de întreprinzător,
your activity based on
și
license or
activitatea
patent of entrepreneur
rezultată din proiecte
and
internaționale
deriving
sau
from
proiecte
international
implementate de
projects or
organizații
projects
internaționale.
implemented by international organizations.
În cadrul rundelor de întrebări,
In the rounds of
dumneavoastră ați
questions,
prezentat această
you
informație
have
suplimentară,
presented this additional
întrucât Comisia a
information
identificat doar
as
veniturile
the Commission
oficiale
has
sau
identified
veniturile
only the
impozabile.
official or
Această
taxable
informație a fost
incomes.
prezentată de dumneavoastră
This
ca o
information has been
completare a
provided by
veniturilor,
you
cu
as
argumentul
an
că
addition
aceste
to the
venituri
incomes
nu apar în
with the
evident
agreement
datele
that these
fiscale,
incomes will not appear
pentru că
in the
acestea
fiscal
sunt, rezultă
data
din
because
activități
these
care nu sunt
are deriving
impozabile.
from activities that are not taxable.
De exemplu,
For
ați declarat în
example,
perioada
you have
2012-2014
declared for
că în perioada
2012-2014, for
2012-2014 ați încasat
in that
30.000
period
de
you have
lei
received
numerat
30,000 lei in cash
patentei de
based on your
întreprinzător.
patent of
Vreau să
or
știu
entrepreneurial
dacă
patent or
este această-
license. I would like
aceste
to know
încasări au fost
if these
documentate într-un
receivings
fel.
were
Există
documented
acte
in
confirmative
some way, if
sau-
there are some confirming documents for them. Honored Commission, please could you elaborate more on this question, which is the specific question in this regard?
Întrebarea mea este,
Okay, my question is,
în răspunsurile dumneavoastră,
in your
ați comunicat
answers,
comisiei că în
you
perioada
stated, you declared for the
2012-2014
Commission that in
ați încasat 30.000 de
2012-2014
lei
you
numerat
have received
pentru servicii prestate în baza
30,000 lei in
patentei de
cash for
întreprinzător.
services based
Dar pe
on
lângă
the
declarația
entrepreneurial
dumneavoastră nu au
patent,
fost
but
prezentate niciun fel de contracte,
along with your
sau
declaration,
alte
no
documente
other
care să
contracts
confirme
or documents were
prestarea
presented to
serviciilor
confirm that
și
you have
încasarea
provided such
banilor.
services and received this amount of money.
Am primit
Honored Commission, I received the money from the accounting service from the institution of international relations of the university in Moldova. This institution was removed in 2020, and therefore I had no possibility to present some confirming documents about receiving these amounts from the accounting service from this Institute of International Relations.
O activitate didactică?
But you were working as a teacher there. Yes, I was providing. I was a teacher. Yes, I said in my answer that I worked as a teacher within that institute.
Și nu a fost încheiat un contract
And
individual de
no
muncă,
individual
dar ați
work
optat pentru
contract
patent
or
de
employment
întreprinzător.
contract was concluded just based on patent. Yes, because it was in the area of in this institute and the area of research and development.
Ați mai declarat că în
You have also
2015
declared that in 2015 you have
10.000 de lei în
received
baza patentei de
10,000
întreprinzător,
lei based on this
iar în
entrepreneurial
2017
patent, and in
ați încasat
2017
35.000 de lei în
you
baza patentei de
received
întreprinzător.
35,000 lei based on the same license or
Pentru
patent.
anii 2015 și 2017, dumneavoastră
Even
nu
though
ați
for
deținut patente de
2017 you did not have this license, this
explicați
patent of
această
entrepreneur.
discrepanță?
How do you explain this discrepancy? Honored Commission, I have no such answer that in 2015-2017 I have obtained incomes,
neimpozabile
non-taxable
în
incomes,
baza patentei
based on the entrepreneurial activity.
în runda a treia.
In the third round of question, I said clearly that I have obtained,
Că am
and
obținut
generally,
în urma
as a result of my teaching activity, providing these services in teaching activity,
patentei de
based
întreprinzător
on this
și în
entrepreneurial
baza
activity and based on international projects in the field of education, development and research. I have not explained that incomes from 2015 and 2017 were specifically obtained based on my entrepreneurial activity.
Metoda excluderii am putea
And
să
by
prezumăm
the
că
exclusion
aceste
method,
venituri
we
au fost
could
obținute,
assume that
rezultatul
these
activității
incomes
noastre în
have
proiecte internaționale care
been
au
received
facilități
based on
fiscale.
your
Asta e
work
răspunsul.
within the international projects. Yes? Yes, this would be the
Întrebarea
answer.
mea este dacă puteți să ne
So my question would be
comunicați
then if you
denumirea
could inform us
proiectelor
about
respective
the
sau
name
măcar
of those
instituțiilor
projects, or
care
at least the
implementau
institutions
acest
that were implementing those projects.
onorat comisie.
Honored Commission,
În anexa 11
in Annex 11
care am prezentat,
that I have submitted to the Commission,
am prezentat
I have presented copies of the teaching notes that I have worked with in the field of projects, in the field of research and development of education. On the covers of these concept notes or concepts of the courses, it is mentioned that this information for the teaching process were edited with the support of the European Commission within or under the international projects, and next there is the name, specific names of the projects. So I have presented to the Commission in the projects,
notele de curs
and it is said there that those textbooks, let's say so, were edited according to the European standards, and the institution was the institution of international relations from Moldova. They were editing these
Aceste proiecte
teaching
sau
materials.
acești implementatori
Okay, those
erau
projects or
introduși în lista
implementers were
aprobată de
introduced in the
guvern,
list approved by the
lista
government
de proiecte
decision. So, in the list of
scutite de,
projects exempted
taxe.
from taxes.
onorat comisiei.
Adică aveți
Honored
această
Commission. Okay, you are certain of that. Honored Commission. I do not have to be certain of that because I have never worked within programs of external assistance and development approved by the government.
Eu am activat
I have worked
proiectelor internaționale
with international projects, within international projects in the field of development, education, and research, which are different things.
eu am lămurit
But I have explained that according to Article 20 of the tax code,
activitatea din care
the
am
activity
obținut
generating for me this taxable, non-taxable incomes could be conducted either based on the entrepreneurial activity or within international projects related to development of education and research, or within
de asistență
programs of external assistance and development approved by the government.
însă am specificat că eu
But
nu
I
m-am
have
activat
specified that I've worked only
programe aprobate de
within programs
Ok, și
approved by
atunci,
the government.
Dacă vorbim de venituri
With
pe care
only with
le-ați,
programs approved by the government.
încasat
So then,
din,
if we speak
programele
about
de
income that you have
educație și
received
cercetare,
based on
nu
programs
au
of
fost
education and
aprobate de
research
guvern,
that were not approved by the government,
unde este prevăzut existența
where is
facilităților
there said the
fiscale sau
existence of
scutire de
tax
taxe
facilities or exemption of
persoanelor
taxes
fizice
for the natural
prestează servicii
entities
pentru acest
providing
proiect.
services for such projects?
onorat comisie.
Honored Commission,
Articol,
in
articolul
Article
20,
20,
litera Z, cu
letter
indicele
Z,
12,
index
prevede
12,
că
Codul fiscal?
codul fiscal.
in the
din
tax
codul fiscal
code, yes,
prevede
it is provided for this facility,
obținerea veniturilor
this possibility to obtain non-taxable incomes.
Aceste venituri
And your argument would be that
nu
these
presupun
incomes
obligația
do
ca
not
proiectul să fie în lista
include obligation for the project to be in the
proiectelor
list of projects approved by the government.
Sunt chestiuni diferite.
Under Commission, these are different things. International projects within the development, field of development. This is why Article 20 has different provisions in this
Nu
regard.
există o diferență. Noi-
Well,
eu
there is
doar
no
vreau să înțeleg
difference.
dacă
I
am
just
înțeles
want to
corect.
to see if I understood it correctly.
Pentru proiectele de
That
dezvoltare, de
for
cercetare și educație,
the research
acestea
and
nu
education
trebuie să
related
fie
projects,
incluse. Asta e argumentul meu. Nu trebuie să
those
fie aprobate de
projects
guvernul
should not
nostru.
be approved by the government. This is your justification. Yes.
Sunt reglementate în mod diferit.
So they are regulated in a different way in Article 20.
Așa. Mai este o sumă.
There's
în
another
anul 2000,
amount
la
for
27 noiembrie 2018,
the 27th of
ați primit o
November
plată de
2018.
91.797
You
de lei
received
din partea
91,797
Această
lei
sumă a
from
fost
the National Institute.
atribuită de către dumneavoastră iarăși la
This
activitate în baza
was
patentei.
mentioned by you as income from activities based on this patent or license.
La activități în baza patentei.
Why did you mention this amount under these activities under the patent if your patent had expired on the 2nd of May 2018? So half a year before you received that amount.
Onorați Comisie, există o regulă
Under
generală,
Commission, there's a general rule
se plătește după
that
prestarea
the service is paid after the service is provided. Within international projects,
riguros
there's a strict control of
și
expenses.
înainte de efectuarea
And
plății,
before making the payment,
finanțatorului proiectului
the
se prezintă un raport privind
funder receives a report on the
și acest fapt a determinat
expenses.
suma
And this is why the amount
plătită
was
întârziere.
paid later.
Înțeles.
Understood.
Așa. O altă sursă de
Another
de
source
venit
of income
este colecția de cărți.
is your book
care
collection,
dumneavoastră
the one
ați vândut
that
în
you
2015.
sold in 2015
În 2015, cu valoare de 1.700 de euro.
for an amount of 700
Vă rog să
euros.
comunicați de ce această
Please
sursă
explain
de venit
why
nu
this source of
apare
income is
în
not
surse de
present
venit raportate în scopuri
in
fiscale.
the sources of income that you reported for the tax
Suma
authorities.
respectivă
Under Commission, this amount was received in 4 payments, 2 in 2014 and 2 payments in 2015.
Astfel, sumele primite nu erau
Therefore, the
semnificative.
amounts were very small, were insignificant.
Scutirile de care beneficiam
And the tax exemptions that I benefited from
familii
for the members of my family covered those amounts. Moreover, I would like to mention that my wife
angajate în câmpul muncii,
was not officially working in 2014-2015, and therefore we were exempted for this.
Dumneavoastră ați refuzat să prezentați datele
You
despre
refused to
cumpărătorul
present
acestei
the
colecții,
data on the
spunând că este un
purchaser of this
colecționar anonim
collection,
sau
saying that this is
justificând
an
că trebuie să
anonymous
păstreze anonimatul.
collector or someone who wants
Iar
to
tranzacția
stay
dată
anonymous.
a fost
And this
convenită în mod
transaction
verbal.
was agreed verbally by you.
Având în vedere valoarea acestei
Taking into
tranzacții,
account the value of this
valoarea
transaction,
totală,
the
sau
total
prețul total
value or
agreat de
the
părți,
total price agreed by the
vă întreb ca
parties,
de la jurist la jurist. Care
I'm
a fost motivul
asking
pentru care
as
nu ați
a
formalizat
law specialist
acest
to
contract
another law specialist,
în
why
formă
did you
scrisă?
not have this contract formally made in written? This is a friend of mine. This is a well-known person in the legal field, and this is why we did not sign a
Dumnealui a
contract.
spus să păstrez anonimatul.
He wanted to
Dar
stay
când i-ați
anonymous.
transmis colecția?
When did you pass over the
început?
collection?
În 2014.
In
tranche.
2014. When you received the first payment,
V-ați
yes.
fi executat contractul. dacă
And
nu
how would
plătea
you have
celelalte.
enforced the contract if you hadn't received the rest of the payments? I trust him because in this world we still have reliable persons. I understand. I'm happy to hear this.
O să trecem mai departe la
We will move
împrumuturile pe care
on
le-ați
to
primit
the
de la familia
loans that you
Crudu.
received from
Pe parcursul
Crudu
rundului de
family.
întrebări ați
Throughout
declarat
the
că
rounds
în
of questions, you
2018
declared that in
și
2018
respectiv în 2021
and
ați primit
2021
împrumuturi
you
cu valoare
received
de 1.000 de euro,
loans
fiecare de la familia
of 1,000 euros
În
each
afară de
from the
această
Crudu
declarație a
family.
dumneavoastră, nu
Besides
am-
this
comisia nu a
declaration from you,
prezentat niciun fel de
the Commission
act
did not
confirmativ
receive any
și
justifying
am dorit
documents.
să știm dacă au fost cumva
And we'd like to
aceste
know
împrumuturi
whether these
formalizate în
loans
scris, în
were
termenii
made
prescripție pentru
formal
aceste
in
aparent
writing,
nu
because
expirat, cel puțin nu
the
pentru cel din
prescription
2021.
or term has not
și am vrea să știm
expired
dacă
for this
există
apparently, and
documente
we'd like to
scrise
understand whether there are some written
de formă
documents
sau ceva care confirmă
or
existența
anything
acestor
confirming the existence of these loans.
Onorați Comisie,
Honored Commission,
nu am încheiat contract, deci
I mentioned that I did not sign a contract because these are close relatives.
practic asemenea.
And in the Republic of Moldova, we have this practice of having such agreements. Moreover,
Runda a patra, la întrebarea
in the fourth round, on question
nu
17,
doar am afirmat
I did not just state that these loans are real.
am declarat pe propria răspundere
I declared and I took responsibility that this information on the loans from the Crudu family are
Cum au fost
indeed
transmise mijloacele?
real.
Banii ăștia?
How was this money sent? In cash? Yes, of course.
Și au
I
fost
understand.
restituite acestea până la moment.
And have these been returned? Up to now, no.
Am înțeles. O altă sursă de venit,
Another source of
despre care
income
ați comunicat Comisia
that
abia
you
în runda a
informed
treia
the
de
Commission
întrebări,
about only in the
este suma
third
de
round of question is
32.000 de
the
euro,
amount of
care
32,000
soția
euros
dumneavoastră
that
a
your
primit-o în
wife
rezultatul unui litigiu de
received
muncă,
after a work
ca o
dispute.
compensație,
This was a
înțelegem noi,
damage
pentru o reziliere
for
ilegală a unui contract de muncă,
the
care a fost
illegal
încheiat
termination of a
între
work
soția
contract
dumneavoastră și ambasada
that
Ungariei din
was
Republica
between
Moldova.
your wife and the Embassy
Din
of
actele
Hungary
pe
in the
care le-ați
Republic of
prezentat
Moldova.
dumneavoastră
From
și
the
cele
documents that
care
you
au fost
presented
obținute de către
and the ones
comisii de
that the
autoritățile maghiare,
Commission obtained from
rezultă
the
că suma de 32.000 euro,
Hungarian
într-adevăr,
authorities
a fost
results that
transferată
this
de
amount was
către
indeed
autoritățile
transferred
maghiare
by the
în
Hungarian
baza,
authorities
acelei hotărâri
based
ale
on
Tribunalului
the
Administrativ din
court
Budapesta.
of the administrative decision of the
La această
administrative
sumă a
court
fost
in
transferată
Budapest,
la 13 iunie
and this
2018 de la
was
contul unei autorități
transferred
maghiare la
on the
contul
13th
deținut
of
de fiica
June
dumneavoastră,
2018
Ion
from
Buruiană,
the account of
la o
the
bancă
authority
comercială din România.
to bank account of
Acum,
your daughter
în
in a bank
scopul
in Romania.
Acceptării acestei
Now,
surse de venit
in
și
order to
includerii
accept
acestea în
this
tabelul
source of
de venituri și
income and
cheltuieli,
include it in the table
am dorit
of
să clarificăm câteva
incomes
aspecte.
and
În
expenses,
primul rând, care a fost
would like to
motivul
clarify
pentru
some
care,
aspects. First of all, why was
această sumă a fost transferată
this
pe contul
amount
fiicei în România, dar nu a
transferred
fost
on the
transferată
account of your
eventual pe un
daughter
cont
in
deținut de
Romania
soția
and not
dumneavoastră
on
sau
an
de
account
dumneavoastră,
owned by your
în
wife or
Republica
by
Moldova?
yourself in the Republic of Moldova?
Onorată Comisie, la
Honored Commission,
acea perioadă
at that period,
să ne instalăm cu traiul.
we were intending,
Să instaleze cu traiul.
so my family intended to move to Bucharest, and therefore we decided that this amount be transferred in the bank account of my daughter, Buruiană Irina, who now has the name Cutuca.
Am înțeles.
I understand.
Înțelegem corect că dumneavoastră
So,
totuși
do
nu
we
v-ați
understand
mai
correctly
mutat în
that
România.
you did not move to Romania after all?
Așa.
No, we
Și
changed
ați
our
dus în
minds.
continuare gospodărie în Republica
And
Moldova.
your household is still in the Republic of Moldova? Yes,
Puteți să
indeed.
răspundeți cum
Could
au
you please tell
ajuns
us
aceste mijloace în
how
posesia
did
noastră,
these
mijloace?
financial means
pe
get
contul
to
fiicei
you
în România,
from
în Republica
the bank
Moldova?
account of your daughter in Romania to the Republic of Moldova?
A ajuns
So this money
în familia noastră,
got to our family
transmițându-se în numerar
in cash.
cu sume mici. Era un
So they
produs
were introduced to the Republic of Moldova in low amounts that
declarat la
did not need to be declared at the customs. And our family received them.
Am prezentat cu întârziere, am zis,
Although
am prezentat extrase.
it was there was a delay, we
Faptul că, într-adevăr, eu
presented
suma
the
respectivă
bank
nu a fost retrasă imediat.
documents saying that we received this money. So after we changed our mind about moving to Bucharest, and I mentioned that since 2018 until 2022,
Nu a fost returnată suma,
the amount was returned to me in different installments. So
Am înțeles. Toată suma ați primit-o.
you received the full amount? Yes.
Nu au fost transferate,
So
nu știu, pentru alte cheltuieli în România.
they were
n-ați
not
făcut
transferred for
achiziții în
other
România.
purchases in Romania. You had no purchases in Romania? No, I did not purchase anything in
Am
Romania.
înțeles.
I understand.
Și aceste mijloace de bănești nu au
And
fost
these
nu le-ați
financial
declarat în
means
scopuri
were
fiscale,
not
nici în România, nici în Moldova.
declared either in Romania or in Moldova. Under the Commission, according to Article 20, the incomes from moral damage and material damage is income that is not taxable, and therefore, according to the tax legislation in the Republic of Moldova, we were not obliged to declare this to the tax authorities.
Noi
I see.
am primit aceste extrase bancare care
We
le-ați
received
prezentat după
these
ce ați luat cunoștință cu materialele,
bank documents
și le-am analizat.
and
Și
we
din
have
acest
analyzed them,
extras rezultă
and
că
based on this
o parte din mijloacele
documents,
bănești au fost
we see
într-adevăr
that the
retrase
part
în numerar,
of
iar
the
altă
money
parte au fost
was
transferate
withdrawn
de către
in
fiica
cash,
noastră,
and
Irina
another part was
Buruiană,
transferred by your daughter
către
Irina
fiica
Buruiană
noastră, Daniela Buruiană.
to your other daughter Daniela Buruiană.
Și cred că este vorba de
And
mai
I
mult de
think
10.000 de euro.
it's a bit more than
Sumele
10,000
care au fost
euros.
transferate de către Irina Buruiană,
The
către
amounts
Daniela
that
Buruiană,
were transferred
au fost
by Irina
transmise în numerar.
Buruiană to Daniela Buruiană were also received in cash.
Contul bancar respectiv,
Under commission, the respective bank account was not open only in order to
transferate suma de 32
transfer this amount of 32,000 euros, to receive this money from the Hungarian authorities.
se afla deja
In this
la data de 13
account,
iunie
at the date of 13th of June 2018, the date when this amount of 32,000 was transferred,
transferate unele sume de bani.
some amounts of money were existing already.
În jur de 2000 de euro.
I don't remember exactly, but approximately 2,000 euros.
Din extrasele,
Moreover, based on the bank extract,
că ulterior,
we
adică
see
după 13
that later, so after the 13th of June 2018,
pirate, mai multe sume de bani.
different amounts of money were transferred to that
Contul
account.
respectiv nu, în contul
Therefore,
respectiv nu erau doar 32.000.
That bank account did not have only 32,000 euros. This bank account was used by
Salarii ce câștigă
my daughter to receive a wage or other amounts of money.
Am înțeles.
I see.
O altă sursă de venit pe care le-ați
Another
declarat pentru anii
source of income
2021
declared
și
for
2022
2021 and
sunt,
2022
mijloace bănești primite în numerar de la soția dumneavoastră
Cash
de 3.700
from your
de euro în
wife,
2011
3,700 euros in 2018 and 11,300 euros
11.300 de euro în 2022.
in 2022.
Și de câte înțelegem noi, soția dumneavoastră lucrează
And from
în
what we
Italia.
understand, your wife is
Așa.
working in
Și pe lângă aceste
Italy.
declarații
And
nu au fost
besides
prezentate de către
this
dumneavoastră
declaration,
niciun fel de
you
acte
did not
justificative,
present
contracte de
any
muncă,
justifying documents
sau alte documente care
like
să
work
demonstreze
contracts
existența
or
actului de muncă și a
other documents
plăților respective sau
confirming these work relationships or the
salariale. Am dorit să știm
payment of
dacă
these
există
salaries.
astfel de,
Would
știu,
like
astfel
to
de documente
understand whether
justificative.
you have such confirming
nu au
documents,
fost prezentate?
and if yes, why were they not presented?
În anexa 2
Under the Commission, in Annex 2 that I have sent,
am anexat, am prezentat
I have
individualele muncă.
sent the individual work contract for my wife in Italy. In Annex 2, I remember for sure.
Ok. Cum au fost transmise aceste mijloace bănești?
How were these money sent?
În runda a patra,
In the fourth round, I stated with certainty that these sources
transmise. Fie
were
personal, de către
transmitted either personally by my
prin
wife
curier,
or by
fie prin
courier
transfer bancar.
or
Toate
through a
aceste
bank
modalități
transfer.
de transmitere sunt legale.
So all these
Transfer bancar la contul dumneavoastră?
were
Prin transfer
done
bancar,
through a bank transfer to your accounts.
3.900 și ceva.
Almost
Au
4,000
fost transmise fiicii cu
were sent to my daughter, Buruiană Irina. Now she changed her name because she got married and she changed her last name. So, Cutuca Irina,
la începutul anului 2023,
at the beginning of 2023,
am trimis pe contul meu
and she
Moldova Agroin Bank.
sent the money to my Agroin Bank account here in Moldova. Otherwise,
Da, nu mi-era.
other means were used. Cash, yes, cash.
O categorie de cheltuieli pe care ați
A category of
suportat-o,
expenses that you have
în
incurred
perioada 2011-2022
between 2011 and 2022
legate de
are
studiile
expenses
copiilor
for the
noastre.
education of your
Și o să mă refer
children.
în principal la studiile
And I will
fiicilor
mention
noastre
the
în Republica Moldova și
studies,
peste hotare.
the education of your daughters in Moldova and abroad, Daniela Buruiană and Irina
Ați
Buruiană
declarat
Cutuca.
că ambele
You
fiice
declare that
au
both daughters
beneficiat de burse,
have had
de granturi,
scholarships and grants.
au locuit în cămin și
They
au
lived in student
lucrat
dormitories
part-time în
and
perioada
they worked
studiilor.
part-time during their education.
Și și astfel și-au acoperit o
And
bună
this
parte
is
din
how they
cheltuielile
covered
de
the
studii
good
și
share
dumneavoastră
of
n-ați fost
their
nevoiți să
educational
suportați toată
expenses, and
sarcina
you did
cheltuielilor
not have
respective.
to take all the burden
Vreau
for
să-
these expenses.
Dacă puteți să ne comunicați
Could
care
you
a fost
please tell
totuși
us
suma totală a
what
cheltuielilor
was
care
the
dumneavoastră
full
ați suportat-o
amount
în legătură
that
cu
you
studiile
incurred
fiicilor
for
dumneavoastră?
the education of your daughters?
Onorați comisie,
Honored Commission, I did not calculate the full amount, but I mentioned to the Commission that
de fiecare dată când venea acasă,
each time they came home, I gave
dar suma
them
respectivă
some
pe toți
money.
anii, pe 4 ani, n-am calculat.
But I have not calculated the full amount for the 4 years. You could not approximate it. No, I could not say it even approximately.
Eu am prezentat răspunsurile
So I have presented
rundilor de întrebări.
my answers in the 4 rounds of questions
eu nu
and
mai am
answers.
întrebări.
I have no further questions. Thank you very
Colegii
much.
n-au întrebări.
Maybe my colleagues have questions.
Do any of the other commission members have questions? No. Mr. Gatskin?
Domnul Buruiană,
Mr. Buruiană,
Comisia v-a solicitat
the Commission has asked you at the beginning of the hearing to present a declaration for 5 years.
5 declarații de avere și
For this declaration, you presented 5 declarations of assets and financial and in personal interests. Do you confirm that this information is correct? Honored Commission.
Am prezentat, într-adevăr,
Indeed, I presented
declarația pe 5 ani și
the
declarația
declaration for 5 years
anii 2000,
and the declaration for the years 2018-2022.
însă, la momentul depunerii
But at the
declarației,
moment the declarations were submitted, I was under a very tight deadline. This is why I
și de a modifica
take the right to
informațiile prezentate în
modify
declarațiile respective.
and add to the information in these declarations.
Pe parcursul rundilor,
This is why during the other rounds of questions and answers, I took the liberty to add some information.
veniturile din litigiu cu ambasada
The
Ungariei nu au fost declarate în aceste
Incomes
declarații.
from the
Da?
dispute with the Hungarian embassy were not declared in these declarations, correct? No, they were not.
În declarația pe 5 ani
In
ați
the
menționat
5-year
ca
declaration,
beneficiari
you
efectiv,
mentioned
compania
as
Construcțiile
beneficiary
București,
the
care
company
deține
Construct Sările București
bunuri în
that
valoare până
has
20.900 și un automobil de
20,900 and a car for 3,800. What were the sources for purchasing these goods?
de întrebări și răspunsuri,
Another commission from the first round of
că aceasta este o greșeală
questions,
materială.
I stated that this is a material error, and I explained the origin of this mistake.
O mostră
So I had a model
automat, adică
declaration,
da.
and
Explicat în toate
this
rundele
is
de întrebări și răspunsuri.
this state from the model. So I explained this.
Și ultima întrebare o am cu privire la
And the
anul
last
2015.
question
În
is
anul
about the year
2015
2015. In
dumneavoastră
2015,
ați avut
you
cheltuieli,
had
cele
incurred
mai mari cheltuieli au
the
fost
highest
niște ce ține de,
expenses
cheltuieli
related
de studiu
to
al copilului,
the education of your children,
contractul de studii.
the education contract, the study contract for a private high school.
Taxa achitată cam este
And the
egală
fee
cu
that was
venitul,
paid
salariul
equals
dumneavoastră
almost
pentru
with
care
the income, with the
Restul
wage of
veniturilor
you
au fost
in the
destul
institute.
mici
The
de-
other
mici din,
incomes
soția
amounted to about
dumneavoastră.
8,000 that was sent to you by your wife.
Alte venituri care au
Could
fost
you communicate to us
utilizate în
other
acest an
incomes received by you that year
pentru trai?
for living?
Comisia,
Honored Commission,
am făcut referire
I have referred there to the fact that I had some savings, and moreover,
am fost nevoiți
I needed,
colecția de cărți la care țineam
I
foarte
had to sell that collection of books that I cared of very much in order to cover the expenses for the education of my son, because they doubled actually.
Mulțumesc.
Understood? Thank you.
Nu mai am întrebări.
No other questions?
Whether, yes,
Domnule Buruian, pentru a concretiza
Mr. Buruiană, in order to specify about a series of claims and sources of incomes, please tell us about the collection of books that you have alienated or sold to your friend amounting to 1,700 euro. If you can remember, for the purposes of book collectioners and professional, what kind of collection was it? From the law or the edition? What was the publication? Why was it so expensive, actually?
luați comisie.
Honored Commission,
Am indicat
I have indicated in
la treia,
the third round of questions
că
that
autorul
the author
colecției respective
of that collection of books
este Dimitru Alexandrescu.
is Dimitri
Se
Alexandrescu,
numește colecția
and the collection is called Theoretical and Practical Explanation of the Romanian Civil Law.
E ediția întâi.
It's the first
Adică
edition,
ediția întâi, care în 1900
which was
în
published in
1898
1898,
am memorat corect.
if I remember it correctly.
Mulțumesc.
Thank you.
Cu referire la suma
As about the amount of
17.000 euro
1,700 euro
din cadrul Universității din
coming
Franța,
from
pe
the
care ați păstrat-o
university,
ulterior la
in university in France,
calitate de
17,000 euro, sorry, as that
Această
you
sumă
received
mai
for
este
your
disponibilă
teaching
și în prezent în calitate de
services.
economie
Is it
casnice sau a fost
also available
utilizată
as
pentru
savings, household
cheltuieli?
savings,
Dacă a
or
fost
it was used
utilizată
for
pentru
expenses?
cheltuieli, care era
If it was used for
destinația
expenses,
acestor
what was the
cheltuieli?
destination of those
Și dacă da,
expenses?
dacă
And
ați
if
mers la
yes,
casele de schimb valutar,
if you
pentru
went
că
to
ați spus
some
că banii erau
exchange
păstrați în
points
valuta euro.
because to exchange money because the money was saved in euros. Honored Commission, of course, I went to exchange points
La foarte multe schimburi
and to a lot of them, but I cannot identify what exact exchange offices or desks I went to because it was time ago.
Întrebarea nu este la care
Well,
casă
the
de
question
schimb
is
valutar,
not
este
what
dacă
exchange points,
această sumă mai
but
este
if
disponibilă
this
sau
amount
dacă a
is
fost
still
utilizată
available
pentru
or if
cheltuieli
it
de
was
consum,
used
de
for
exemplu,
living
sau pentru cheltuieli de
expenses
edificare a
or
imobilului pe
for
care noi l-am
expenses for building the
examinat în
house
imagini
that we have
și dacă
seen
da,
in the image.
ați utilizat
And if
această
yes,
sumă în valuta
have
ei
you used that amount
originală sau ați
in
mers la
euro,
casele de schimb
or
valutar
you
și
did
treptat
go
ați
to
schimbat
those exchange
utilizând
points to
pentru
exchange the
diverse
money in order to
necesități?
use them for different needs?
onorată comisie.
Honored Commission,
Aveam economie
if I had savings out of those 14,000 euro, I would not have left my wife to go to work in Italy, first of all. And second, out of that amount, I was paying
în principal, am spus,
taxes
am relatat
because I
în rundele.
explained in the rounds of questions and answers,
Am achitat
I have
în
paid
principal
mainly from that amount the education fees for my son in the Moldovan Turkish high school
și
Horizont,
bani
At that time, it was called
în
Horizon.
euro.
And the payments were made in euro. They were receiving payments in euro, the equivalent of the amount in Moldovan lei.
Vă mulțumesc. Și cu referire la
Thank
suma
you.
de
And now about
970.000 de lei care o
the amount of
reflectă
970,000 lei
probabil
reflected in the tax
depusă în cadrul exercițiului de
return,
amnistie
tax
fiscală,
declaration,
despre care
that maybe
afirmați că
speaks
nu vă
about that
mai amintiți.
exercise of tax amnesty that you
Poate considera
claim not
Comisia că
recalling.
acest
May the Commission
exercițiu
consider
de
that this
amnistie
exercise
fiscală
of
l-ați
fiscal amnesty
formal,
was
neavând
conducted by you
această sumă?
formally
Sau
without
totuși
having
ați avut această
this
sumă
amount,
și
or you did
ați
really
utilizat
have
cumva
this amount and you
acești
have
aproape 1
used
milion de lei?
this almost 1 million lei in some way. Honored Commission, I declare with all my responsibility that I did not have such an amount.
Zic că o să ne clarific.
So I will try to clarify this aspect, maybe for formal reasons. If I had that amount, I would have not have sold those books that I cared very much about, or have taken other actions that
Vă
I
mulțumesc. Eu nu mai am
did.
întrebări.
Thank you. No other questions from my side.
Mr. Civinini?
Thank you.
Vă mulțumesc.
A question about your saving from your teaching activity in Bordeaux. You declare 14,000 saving in 2010. Did you spend all the money, all this saving in 2010?
Onorat Comisie, am indicat că
Honored Commission, I indicated that
nu am
these
cheltuiat-
were
n-am cheltuit
savings.
în 2010.
I did not use them only in 2010. I said that from that amount, I
Taxele, în primul
paid
rând, principal, taxele
the
de
taxes,
școlarizare
the education fees for my son in the high school.
Moldotur.
No, I'm asking this because when the Commission asked you to fulfill a grid about each year saving, you put all of them in 2010, but not in the following years. So I'm wondering, all the money was used in 2010, and in this case, if not, why you didn't put a saving in the following years?
Onorat Comisie, în familia
Honor
mea,
Commission, in my family, we do not keep accounting records in a
pentru că
strict
se
manner.
întâmplă greșelile. Dacă nu se duce evidență, unde știm?
Because we do not keep record. I could not know what savings I had at that moment. I cannot just basically remember.
Ce economie am avut la
The
sfârșitul
savings at the end of 2011, 2012,
15 ani,
or for 15 years ago, for example. Basically, it's impossible.
Some question about the period your wife worked in Italy and the revenue from her activity. She went the first time to Italy for working reason in which year?
Onorat Comisie,
Honor Commission,
a plecat
she
la 14
left
pentru prima dată,
for the first time to work in Italy
pe data de
on the
16
16th of June 2021.
And she has working for how long?
Onorat Comisie lucrează și în prezent.
Honor Commission, she is still working. She is currently in Italy.
You presented a working contract, a work contract as a domestic assistant. You have, I think, on your screen. Is she still working for the same Tonini? I think is the name of the house owner. Tonini, yes. Is she still with the same, in the same working relation, or she had a different working contract?
Onorat Comisie,
Honorable Commission, currently
are un contract
she has a different contract and she is providing
la un hotel
services to a
în
hotel.
regiunea muntoasă.
She's working in a hotel in the mountains region close to the border with
A
Switzerland.
plecat pe data de
She has left
7
on
aproximativ data de
almost on the 17th of November
2023.
2023 to work there, and from that date till today she has a contract concluded with that entity. So she's working there and she's providing services in the hotel field. She's working in a winter hotel.
So it's a seasonal contract.
Da.
Yes, yes, exactly.
And between the first contract that is for working for an hotel service, this one that you have on your screen, the contract of 2021, and the ongoing contract, there were other working relationship in family.
Da, bineînțeles, onorat.
Yes, of course.
Cer scuze.
Sorry.
Onorat Comisie.
Honorable Commission,
În perioada anilor 2020
between 2021-2023, and including 2024 already,
soția mea
my wife
a avut diferite
has had different
în
activities.
principal,
Basically, as
persoanelor în etate,
domestic carer of the elderly persons,
dedicatoare la
and as a housekeeper,
a fost chiar vara trecută a fost
housekeeper
la
or
hotel de vară,
working in the cleaning service in hotels, and last summer she went on the seashore in some specific locality I cannot remember, and she has a contract from that place of work. I can present it additionally if the Commission is requesting to see those contracts.
Yes, I assume that working in an hotel, she must have a contract, an official contract.
Sigur.
And
Sigur.
when she was
Sure.
working as a domestic take care for elder people, did she have an official contract?
După câte mi-amintesc,
As far as I know, she did have an official contract,
când a plecat
but when
la
she left on the 16th of June 2021, when she left for the first time to Italy,
a lucrat la negru.
she has worked
Este lucru
informally.
cunoscut, un lucru comun.
It's a well-known thing that
Tot
basically all the Moldovan people living to work
la etapa
there, at the beginning, they work unofficially until they find an official place that involves a concluded contract, so that they permit to have all the payments done legally.
Thank you.
Any other questions? One follow-up based on what you were just discussing. When your wife went to Italy in June of 2021, you said she was working informally. How much approximately did she make in the months that summer before she returned to Moldova?
Onorat Comisie,
Honorable Commission,
a lucrat
she has
la
worked
negru
informally
din 16
starting from the 16th of
21
June
până
2021
în septembrie,
till
8 septembrie
8th of
s-a
September.
întors
She came back in Moldova,
Te mai amintesc?
as far as I
8
remember.
septembrie, tot 2021.
Well,
Iată,
again,
în perioada
2021.
respectivă,
So in that
a
period,
activat
she has
anexă,
worked
adică fără contract de
illegal,
muncă.
informal, illegal.
În această perioadă
In that
a avut
period,
venituri
she
globale
had
de
the total
aproximativ
incomes
4.000
of
de
almost
euro.
4,000 euro.
De 1700
1,700 euro
transmise
she
prin curier.
sent to me through courier or
În luna
messenger.
iulie,
In
la sfârșitul
July,
lunii,
at the end of
cam
July,
așa,
I cannot recall the date
mi-a
exactly.
fost trimisă prin curier
It was sent by courier services.
și 2000
And
de euro
2,000
transmise,
euro
dar nu transmisă fiindcă am fost
was
am avut nunta
sent,
fiicei
well, not sent because we had the
și
wedding of our
mi-a fost
daughter,
transmis, am pus pe masă cum
and
se
I just received them
practică
and
la
I
moldoveni, da.
paid or gave as a gift to my
Adică,
daughter
da, 300,
to the
adică
wedding, as it is practiced
300.
in Moldovan style.
3700 mi-a fost transmis.
But I received
Dar
totally
300 a fost cheltuite pentru
3,700. By the other 300 were used for transportation purposes, for preparations for coming back, for some purchases and so on.
So do I understand you to say that the first month your wife was in Italy, that second half of June and July, she made 17,000 euros working informally?
La,
1,700, I'm sorry. 1,700.
întocmai
Exactly.
Comisiei
Exactly,
fiindcă
Honorable Commission.
ea în afară
Because
deja de 2
She was taking care of two elderly persons, the wife, the husband, and besides, she was working in the garden and receiving additional payments to that. And moreover, she was not paying for anything because she was accommodated, and she also received food or was maintained by those persons that she was taking care of.
What were the names of the people she worked for?
Honorable Commission, even if I put a lot of effort to force my memory, I could not tell you now their family name. I believe my wife does not remember anymore.
Okay. Any other questions by committee members? Yes, Mr. Gatskin.
Pentru claritate, domnul Ciobanu.
Just for clarification, Mr. Ciobanu, could you explain us how did you use those 32,000 euro received in 2018?
Soția dumneavoastră a plecat în
Your wife
2020,
has left in
ultima oară în
2021,
Italia, da?
first time in Italy. Yes, yes.
Vă rog să explicați
Please
acele sume.
explain us about the use of those 32,000 euro. How were they used and for what purposes? Honorable Commission,
În primul rând,
first of all,
au fost utilizate
I
aceste
have
sume au fost
used
utilizate
that money
pentru acoperirea cheltuielilor
to cover
sau
the
taxelor de școlarizare.
expenses or the fees for the high school of my
În al
son.
doilea rând,
And
am avut
second,
cheltuieli serioase
I had serious
în
expenses
2021,
in 2021
la
when
căsătorirea fiicii.
my
Cutuca
daughter
Irina
got
Buruiană,
married,
acum
Irina Cutuca,
Irina.
now called Cutuca
Și am
Irina,
avut și alte cheltuieli,
and I
adică,
also had some other
da,
expenses,
de bază,
but basically those were the main expenses.
Economii din acele 32.000 de
So
euro nu
savings
mai
from those 32,000 euro, I don't have any more of those.
în prezent nu am.
Currently, I don't have savings from that money. Thank you.
Deci, ca să îmi cer scuze,
But sorry, to say exactly that
nu am nici
I have
100 de euro din economie respectivă.
I don't have even 100 euro from that
nu
saved money. I could not tell you because I'm not keeping accounting of the money.
All right, any additional questions? Mr. Buruiană, to the extent you've not yet provided copies of the contracts that your wife has had while working in Italy, are you willing to provide them to the Commission? You mentioned some contracts in your answers today. I'm not sure we have copies of all of those.
Onoratul Comisiei, bineînțeles,
Honorable Commission, of course, I am willing, I agree to present those contracts.
numai depinde, da,
But
o să solicite la soție.
I need to request them from my wife to have them sent, even the last contract I mentioned that is concluded, to have it sent to me, and then I share it with you immediately.
Understood. We can follow up with a request more formally for them if that would help facilitate things. Fine. Okay. Any other questions by commission members? Okay. Mr. Buruiană, is there anything you'd like to say by way of a closing statement? We've come to the end of our questions.
Onoratul Comisiei, doar o
Honor Commission,
declarație,
just a
scurtă.
statement, a brief statement.
Dumnezeu să binecuvânteze Republica
May
Moldova,
God bless
să
the
o
Republic
ajute
of
să
Moldova
creeze un
and
sistem
help it create
de justiție
a
adevărat.
judiciary system, a real one, because it deserves it.
Mulțumesc.
Thank you.
Thank you. That brings us to the conclusion of today's hearing. Mr. Buruiană, again, thank you for the various submissions and answers to the questions. After the hearing, the Commission will approve an evaluation report stating its conclusion whether the subject meets the criteria for ethical and financial integrity under Law Number 65. We will strive to complete our report and announce the Commission's conclusion as soon as possible, and we generally seek to do so within a month after the conclusion of the hearing. The hearing is now closed. Thank you. Good day.